Good morning, El Paso, and welcome back to this, your supposed to be weekly podcast, but I don't know, what can I tell you? I've been in quarantine, I guess. I'm trying to get all my cables here and out of the way. Anyway, so welcome to AMP El Paso podcast, your AMP podcast, your Art Millennium podcast for weekly events and things to do around here in El Paso. How you doing? This is Tuesday, April the 21st. It's 5:30 in the morning here. And yeah, I've been gone for, I don't know, what is it, 3 weeks now? I don't know. I honestly feel really bad because I was actually keeping up pretty good with this podcast, and then this quarantine came about, and I just kind of dropped the ball. I have kind of dropped the ball, and I feel pretty bad. I don't feel pretty bad with, I don't feel like I failed anybody, or I don't feel like, I know I'm not being judged by the millions of listeners of this podcast, but I just feel like I've dropped the ball for me personally. This is something that I wanted to do. I've been wanting to do since about a year ago, really. And I don't know. It just feels like every time that I want to keep doing it, something comes up, or it's just me. I just quit doing it. And with this quarantine, I'm one of the few lucky people that it was considered essential. Not that really stopped anybody from being outdoors. Which I'll touch here in a bit. But I've still, being in the trucking industry, it's one of those like vital things, a vital essential jobs or employment. It's an essential thing, pretty much, just truck driving, because although I'm not specifically an over-the-road truck driver, I do still work in the trucking industry, which is an essential business. So I do still have my job. Monday nights are usually my Fridays. So that was one of the reasons behind doing this whole podcast on Tuesdays. Plus Tuesday, whenever there were events going on, Tuesdays were really pretty early in the day, where it wasn't a Monday, so you were still able to be at your job on a Monday, and then Tuesday was like a day to hey, let's start looking forward to the weekend, to things to do. And then when I jumped off the truck as an over the road truck driver, I landed this job, and then I was like, well, you know what? The only bad thing, or the only downside to it, is that it is specifically a weekends kind of job. So if I do want to go out to events that are usually the weekends, all the farmers markets, the the punk rock markets and stuff like that, seriously, everything's been canceled or postponed. And I think rightly so. I think there's a good reason for it. I don't think this is to be taken lightly. And I think I've been hearing a bunch of, if you're constantly on social media, which I don't know. I am. And I know a lot of people are I don't even know how to say it. There's people that are skeptical about if this is real. There's people that are taking it very serious. Certainly, all the news outlets are are reporting on this, and even the news, it has. I mean, it's not taken like with a. I guess with the importance that it was taken, I've seen a lot of people, and then I think this week there was like a rally. I don't know if it was like really a Trump rally or I mean it wasn't like his rally, but it was some kind of rally where there were like COVID-19 deniers, I think, and there's people that were comparing. They were comparing social distancing to communism and a bunch of things like that, which I mean, I don't even know what to say about that. There's clearly people dying. There's stuff going on, and I mean, this isn't something to be taken lightly. So I don't really know why there's people that are just trying to go against it. And yeah, I mean, a lot of the things that I've seen, there are a couple of people that I do know that work in the health industry, I guess, like doctors and I mean, I don't know any doctors, but I know people that are like nurses or like those. I don't know what the difference is between like an RNA or a NA or RA or something like that. I don't know, but I do know people that work around hospitals or that do have some sort of background that are in that. And anybody that's, I mean, at least somewhat educated in some of these things know that this isn't something to be taken lightly. And I know that there's a lot of things. I've been reading up on this, not a lot lately, because I feel like the things like symptoms and things that cause this virus, like they're already pretty known. But I mean, I haven't read much up on the symptoms and how people get it and things, because I feel like that's really been hammered into us. People get it through like direct contact, like immediate, not. Let me see if that's my dog that's barking. No, nope, there he is. Like I know that people do not get infected like if you're in a certain distance, but people, it's usually how you would get a cold. I mean, if you go out to the store and somebody sneezes and you're around and you maybe are around those germs or anything like that. Let me go see if I could get my dog to quiet down a little bit. Sorry, that was you could hear my dog. They're both outside, and I mean, I have a paper thin. Oh, come on, are you gonna keep barking, dude? I have a paper thin door right here in my little recording room that, it's nice because it leads directly outside. So being up at this time doesn't wake my girlfriend up. But anyway, but you could, downside is you could hear my dog. They're actually pretty good dogs. Which, I'm going to try to change the topic now. How are you doing? I don't think there's much to talk about other than, this quarantine, really. I know there's people freaking out still. I have heard of a few people losing their jobs. Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of uncertainty in what, like, the effective ways of actually to prevent it, and then how do you know when you have it, and then what happens to those people that that do get sick and all that. But yeah, anyway, I mean, that's one of the things that I've been kind of curious about, how people are dealing. I do have some of the guys at work telling me what they're doing, since I work with all these dudes. They've been telling me that it's just different, as some of these guys, especially the ones that work with me, they work nights. So whenever they get home, it's usually time for the kids and the wives to go off to work and school. So most of these guys have a few hours of just some free time, usually sleep time. And then if they happen to work on during the week or have days off during the week, much as I do, they have some alone time, and I don't know if it's like a guy thing or if like a growing up kind of thing, but some of these guys enjoy their alone time. You get your own time. For me, I mean, I don't have kids or anything, but whenever my girlfriend goes to work, whenever she did before this quarantine and all this started going on, I would get my coffee, and I was able to have breakfast by myself sometimes. And it was just those couple days when she was at work. And then it comes a time when you're almost expecting her that if anything changes where she would be home later or anything, you would be like, hey, well, you're not here. And then that's the time that kind of you start missing each other. But I feel like some of these guys that I work with that have kids, they don't have, from what I've heard, is some of their kids are really into their electronics and things like that, to where they don't have any ideas of what to do to make their kids go outside, because this is something that we've gradually seen. I mean, even I think my generation as millennials, we saw some of that shift that went from when I was like in my single digit years. I would be out, I mean, playing outside. Even when I was coming up as a teen, before I really got into video games, you would be outside playing. I mean, we would play marbles. I remember my cousins were really good with those like old school tops with with a little string and things. My uncles were really good with it. We would be out on bikes, making ramps, getting we were getting scratches, not wearing a helmet. Not that I think that's a good idea. I mean, you should probably wear a helmet. We got hurt and things like that. But, we got hurt because we were outside. And that's kind of my point. Some of these guys that I've talked to that have kids, their kids are always inside. And, it's not just the kids, it's also them. We grow tired of wanting to be outdoors. We don't want to spend time outside. We don't want to... we don't want to be tired. We don't want to be in the sun. We don't want to get all sunburnt. We don't want to get sweaty. And one of the things that I've heard is that we've been given kind of an opportunity here to spend time with our families, even if it's just you and your family with your wife and your kids or your husband. Or if your parents or whatever your situation is, those that live in your house. This is one of those times where, in my opinion, if you plan accordingly, one of the good things that I've found out works out for me a lot is if I plan kind of my free time after my like chore time. I feel like I enjoy that a little bit more. Just being able to actually feel accomplished during the day. When I'm here during the day, I try to do my work outdoors, like all my yard work, or if I'm going to be doing things in my car, or right now that I want to start work on this bike. I've just found out that what works better for me is if I kind of schedule some time. That way I don't get burnt out by the sun, first of all, especially if I'm out, at the like during the worst time for the sun. If I plan out just like a few hours before the sun gets really bad, and then a few hours after the sun, it's already been at the like midday or at its harshest. I still managed to do something. Like I was cutting weeds and stuff the other day. And I did it till about 2 or 3, maybe around that time. I ran out of water outside and I was going to come inside, and I figured, what? I've cleaned up most of what I wanted, like some of the worst areas. So I figured, let's maybe take a little rest. I'm in no hurry. Obviously right now I have time. And I could just go back out and do the finishing touches, and then put my tools away. And then by that time, it'd already be dark. And I planned it out all in my head, and it worked out perfectly. I mean, it worked out fine. I finished what I wanted to finish. The house looked cleaner, and I felt accomplished. I was able to have. I don't know if I just had a beer or if we just had dinner. And I was able to enjoy that to myself because I had done something, you know. And I would only imagine that if you throw kids into that mix, then you would probably. I think I've seen a few videos of like some of these parents staying at home, and since schools let out, what is it, like 2 months before like classes actually ended. Some of these kids were doing like their classes online, and these parents would have to make them, hey, you know what, we're gonna be doing like a few minutes of PE, like an hour or like a 45 minute, almost like the length of a class. And they would make their kids or their nephews or little brothers or sisters, whatever, they would make them run and do some sort of physical activity to be outside. And I mean, come on, that really is necessary. It really is necessary to just, I mean, not even kids, just to me. I've recently started doing that. And it's been, I mean, it helps. It just makes you, I mean, you get some fresh air, if anything. So I just think some of those things are some of the things that we need to take advantage of now, and also spending time with your kids. One of the things that I was saying is, right now, not a lot of people do like jigsaw puzzles, and jigsaw puzzles are actually pretty helpful. From what I've heard, they're pretty helpful for kids because they're supposed to kind of be still for a while. And then you got to kind of figure it out. Plus, it's something that you could do with your parents. You could do like brothers and sisters, and you don't have to be like on your electronics or anything, and you can be like eating snacks or whatever, and you could be talking to your kids, during if you're one of the few people that do go to work, or just probably not even few. I still see a lot of traffic out there. Which has been like a talking point around here in El Paso. Just people still outside, and how much traffic, and how we're bad here in El Paso, and how we got a what was it? We got like a negative. We got like an F in what is it, like a grade or something like that? I don't know. We were ranked, and we got an F, which is failing. But I think for the size of the city, and just how we've been growing and everything, I honestly rather be a little more optimistic. We're obviously doing better than a lot of really big cities that have like the cameras pointed at them. But still, I think we should try to be home more. So anyway, what I did want to point out is, as of April 20th at 6 a.m, I'm here in the El Paso COVID-19 tracker.com. So as of today, or as of 14 hours ago. So as of April 20th, yeah. So today's the 21st. So as of April 20th at 4:12 p.m., according to this website, there's 540 cases. And there's total 9 deaths. And it seems here that our first case was on March the 13th. So we're about a month and 7 days in. Technically 8, I guess. 7 according to this chart. And I mean, yeah, this, just if you could see the graph right here, it's a pretty steep like rise around like April, I don't know, 4th, 5th. It gets pretty pretty bad up here. But if you do look at, they have a bunch of graphs here, and they're pretty easy to understand. I mean, but you kind of have to pay a little bit of attention. It seems like we might have already experienced our peak. We had like a crazy peak on April the 8th, which we had about 39 cases that day. And then we had close to 60 on the 16th. But I did hear that the peak for El Paso, if not Texas, was going to be, and I saw this a few days ago. I heard that the peak was going to be April the 24th. So what I get from it being a peak is that the days before and after are still going to be pretty bad. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to kind of do this podcast as well, to try to encourage people to stay home if you can. Again, I understand there's people that are in certain situations where you simply can't. I mean, we can't. I grew up in kind of those situations where, you know, you lose a day of work. It could be a significant impact to I mean, just your daily life, I guess, would be. So I understand if there's people that still have a job, and especially right now, if you're an essential part of your job, and if you're one of those people that, I mean, right now, like, it was, people started saying, like, you know, how vital did these people that work fast food, you know, how people that work fast food or retail, or I mean, even the medical community, they really get shit on a lot, and now it's really come to light that they're some of the most essential people out there. I mean, it's people that you see every day. I mean, even people that you see at Starbucks that, you know, there's a guy at work that he used to come in with a Starbucks every day, and he still comes in, you know, thankfully he can still do that, which to some it may be just a luxury to be able to have a Starbucks, understandably. But now he doesn't come into work with a Starbucks as often. And he simply says, you know, these people are still doing their job, but with the demand and everything, there's still, there's a big line. So sometimes, you know, if I don't want to be late to work, and, you know, sometimes we have a little bit of leeway there because we work around the clock. So sometimes the early guys stay there a few minutes late, just to take care of it. And then, you know, with traffic and just the nature of the industry, I think there's just a little bit of leniency there. Not that it's right. I mean, you know, you should know your job and everything, but it is kind of the point that I'm trying to make, where certain things like fast food and things like that, which become vital when you're at work, you know, because you don't want to be doing your job tired or hungry or anything. So those things just inherently become like a vital necessity. Especially if you're gonna be working long hours such as we do, and you need to have just nutrition, and you don't have time to cook at home, or, you know, if you simply just, that's something you want to eat that day, or whatever the reason might be. But it's one of those things where things that maybe were kind of looked through a different lens before are now, people are starting to realize. And I think this was caught on like early on. A lot of people, like, as soon as like fast food workers and grocery store personnel, and just, I mean, your mail carrier or delivery people, you know, we became so dependent with just eBay, Amazon, and all the other delivery apps like Favor or Uber Eats. I don't know if Postmates is also here. But all those apps of people that, you know, they sometimes took those jobs out of just the necessity, or maybe just because they wanted to make a little bit of extra money, they've pretty much become essential at this point, which, it really is. Because, you know, if you're doing a job where, you're indoors. I did see a few stories and some pictures, even on Twitter. As you know, as bad as I've been with the app, Twitter page. I do happen to go on Twitter every once in a while, and there's so many tweets going out to what was the last one? Something about with food, where people were donating like food through Twitter. Man, I don't remember. It was something that was trending. I can't believe I forgot what it was. And it was very catchy too. Wow, I mean, I guess not as there is I'm seeing this thing that's trending right now, and I don't know why, but it's R.I.P. Prince, which today is the day where he passed in 2016. And you got your like impeachment stuff, and I did hear about the oil market was like negative or something like that, which I have somewhat of an idea of what that means, but let's face it. I mean, I'm not gonna try to figure it out or explain something that I barely know. It is Tuesday, and the hashtag Tuesday thoughts, Tuesday motivation, hashtag Tuesday morning are all trending. Good Tuesday? Was that this Tuesday? I thought that was last week. I'm trying to find the hashtag, but it was basically about donate to Twitter, donate to food bank. It was something about food bank. Let me see if I could find it. Food. No, I'm not typing anything. Why am I not typing anything? Can you tell I'm sleepy? I mean, come on. We do food bank. Maybe if I just type the whole thing and then just search food bank. I know that's what it was. Maybe there's a hashtag for it. No, I have no idea. I suck at this. Yeah. Well, anyway, that actually gets me onto a good point. There's a lot of food banks, food drives as well, that are just being held all over the place. Here in El Paso, I do know we have quite a few that I don't know if they're still doing it. Let's look it up. Let's see, El Paso food banks. El Paso, and there was actually a lot of restaurants, which you probably know. I mean, come on, let's face it. We are all stuck to our phones, especially right now. I mean, before this, we were already stuck with our phones. So that's why I'm trying to I'm trying to promote this whole spend time with your family, spend time at home, or even if you're not spending time at home, which I mean, most people are, I think. Just make that time worthwhile. So there's a bunch. So I just went to the elpasotexas.gov, and I just Googled El Paso food banks. And then immediately all these came up. And obviously all these say closed right now because most of them open at 8 in the morning. Some of them open, let me see. It seems like most of them open at 8. Some of them open at 10 in the morning. Along with a few, well, not a few, but a bunch of churches and community centers. And I honestly don't know if schools are actually doing... I actually don't know if schools are doing a lot of like food services for kids, and I don't know if I think they're just doing it for kids. I don't know if I'm not too sure if parents qualify for that. But I thankfully I haven't heard of anybody struggling too hard. But just because I'm not immediately aware of it doesn't mean that it isn't happening. I do know that there's people even when we're not in a pandemic, that there's people that are struggling to get some food. Obviously globally, but I do know it is also an issue here in El Paso. So, even if if you're not going through something like that, you probably know somebody that maybe struggles. Or I mean, come on, we all know people that live paycheck to paycheck. Like I said, we grew up. I mean, I'm not saying I had like a rough childhood or anything. I probably did a little bit more than a lot of people, but I also lived a lot better than a lot of people. And my parents were always very good about providing. And I mean, I never I was never suffering or anything for food. But like I said, since even if I'm not affected by it, it doesn't mean that it isn't happening. So there is a bunch. I'm going to share this actually right now on the this is actually, it's the El Paso, Texas, City of El Paso, like the website. But at the very beginning, it says veteran resources. So I don't know if this is specifically for veterans. I would assume not. Yeah, because this is just a food pantry, and there are a bunch of churches. Church. UMC, church, community center, food pantry. Church, food pantry. Community of El Paso, community church, Salvation Army, for elderly assistance, food pantry, church, UMC, food pantry, church, pantry, church, and there's a mission there, the very last one. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and share this on my Facebook, and that didn't share to my Facebook. That actually just opened their Facebook page. Yeah, that's not what I wanted to do. Maybe if it'll give me the thing here. So anyway, with this whole talk about trying to stay fed and trying to spend time with your family, one of my things that I do want to talk about is just keeping just an artistic mentality during this time. It's been clear that our infrastructure is it's not focused in the best of ways, and like I've always said, and I mean a lot of my teachers have said, whenever something goes in terms of like budget cuts, especially within school systems and things like that, the very first things to go are always the arts. Some of these places, like the sports, keep them pretty afloat, if I could use that. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the things that go out like by the wayside and things that are cut first are always arts, music programs, things like that. You know what? I can't find how to share this. Anyway, I'll try to share it after I'm done here with the podcast. After I'm done recording. I'm almost done. I mean, come on. What can I possibly talk about if everything's canceled in a podcast about events? Honestly, how many things could I talk about, right? So, just to kind of finish, what I was talking about was just try to do something sorry, I was opening a window there. I'm checking on the dogs. Try to maintain some sort of artistic thing. If you have your kids at home, maybe get into a little competition about them and then draw something. A good game that I always liked and I always wanted to buy, which I haven't yet, for like a game night or something, would be Pictionary. I've always thought that one was pretty fun, especially because sometimes if you get like a good team or something, you could really have a good time. And for Pictionary, I mean, you now with as far as technology and everything is, you could probably find some sort of app on your phone. And really, what all you need would be if you have like a whiteboard or something at home, and make a couple teams or something. If you have kids and stuff, more than likely there's at least 4 people in your house. You could have 2 against 2, which that's good enough. And then you could switch around teams. But yeah, that's one of the things where that kind of involves art. Maybe your kids are music oriented, or maybe they wanted to learn some sort of instrument or something. Odds are that you can probably go out and find some instruments right now, as long as it's just you that goes out to the store. That way you don't put other people in danger, you don't put your kids in danger, and you don't expose yourself. Maybe it'd be a good time to buy like a cheaper or just an affordable instrument or something. And you could always encourage drawing. There's a lot of things that have to do with art. Reading. I've actually done a lot of reading here at work. My time kind of allows me to do that. Also the other things that I've seen is that your local, our local here are museums. We have a bunch of museums here in El Paso. And I know for a fact most of them have some sort of online interactive thing. And even right now, I would imagine you could log into like zoos or museums in the whole country, if not the world, really. And they would probably have something more interactive and things like that. That way you could get interested in something. You could learn something. I know I shared here on my personal Facebook. I don't know if I shared it on Facebook or if I just sent it to like my girlfriend and my family. But there was like a thing that I shared where it said like if you're using this time to better yourself or to exercise or something, just know that we all hate you. And I thought it was just really funny because, of course, we all like to hang around at home and we all like to have a good time. And we all like to just enjoy ourselves. But it is kind of an opportunity. I was looking for that. I clicked into this time lapse of like an airport, and it just looks like these lights just coming down, and I was like, oh my god, what is that? I was freaking out. I was like, oh, is this like an alien video or something? Also, like last week, I think over here in El Paso, we had I believe it was Elon Musk's Skytrack or Skylink. But people were freaking out, and they were saying that if you saw those crazy lights going on out here in the lights in the sky at night, and obviously everybody with how crazy this year's been, everybody was just freaking out, like, oh my god, there's like crazy lights going on. Of course, because why not? Plus, we're all at home, and we all have to. If anything, be entertained by something, especially at night. Plus, to me, it seems like these nights are getting really, really comfortable. I've started riding my bike every day now. It is still kind of cool, but it's bearable. So I've been riding my motorcycle to and from work. So the nights are very calm. The nights they've always been very calm, but just right now it just seems differently, and it might just be a whole vibe thing. So anyway, try to spend some time with your family, with your loved ones. Call your friends and family. Call those that you love. Call people that you didn't really talk to. Just connect with people. We all need it, especially right now. I know I've seen a lot of those like Zoom videos. I don't use it because I don't need to, because like I said, I'm still one of those few people that is going to work. But I have seen a lot of people that are just connecting, and it is nice to see. We certainly need it. So just go ahead and do your thing and spend time with those, even if it's virtually. Which, come on, I think we all kind of knew that was going to happen. So just spend some time with your friends, or call them, or there's video chat everywhere now, right? So yeah, I'm gonna try to keep sharing some more things. A lot of restaurants again. A lot of you probably everybody already knows these, but there's a lot of restaurants coming up to do like. I mean, I've even seen some like free delivery. There's a lot of meal deals. Undisputed Craft House, which is actually one of the things that I talk about a lot here on the podcast, which they do their markets and is it the punk rock or the punk flea markets and all those crazy things during. I mean, this is actually the time for it. We there's some of the it's one of the places where they come up a lot because they do a lot of the alternative stuff. So now they actually, with it being 420 yesterday, they actually had a like a munchie box. I think that's what it was called, munchie meal or something like that. And it was basically like a pizza box with all these munchies. That's somebody that would partake in the 420 festivities would probably enjoy. And that's one of the things that I've shared. But I haven't shared a lot of things. I've shared a few things with from the River Moon Records. They've had a few things come up also. But yeah, there's, like I said, there's a lot. And actually, my girlfriend shared a bunch of live concerts that were going to be happening, that were going to be going on online. And I should have shared that, actually. I don't know why I didn't. And there were a lot of really good bands on there. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. Don't forget to tell your friends, especially right now, tell your friends about the podcast. I'll keep talking a little bit more about some of the things that you can do online, I guess. And the page on Facebook is AMP El Paso. You could find it at AMP EPTX. The little logo there is AMP. The word AMP inside a star. Here on my little notebook. So yeah, just go ahead and do that on YouTube, where this will go. That is at the AMP El Paso. That is the YouTube. What is it? My YouTube name or username? I don't even know what it's called anymore. Did I lose it already? Man, this is why I gotta keep doing the podcast weekly. So yeah, just look for me at AMP El Paso. The email, it is ampeptx@gmail. And obviously the Facebook, it is AMP El Paso. Also on YouTube, like I said. And Twitter, it is at AMP EPTX as well. So go ahead and subscribe and share this. I think I might actually put this up on my personal Facebook. I haven't done that yet, just because it's something that I don't know if it's just I haven't committed to it fully, or what it might be. But I know I should bet on myself and just promote this. I didn't want to do it around August, and then I kind of eased my way into it in October. And then, as you can see, with this quarantine, it just kind of threw everything out of whack. But yeah, I am gonna keep doing this. So this is a reminder to myself to keep doing it next week as well, on Tuesday, for all of you guys here in the morning. Don't forget AMP El Paso on Facebook, on YouTube, at AmpEPTX on Twitter. So go ahead and please do that. Stay safe. Don't go out if you don't have to. Look out after your family. Think about your family, your elders, and your kids. And I'll talk to you guys later.